Hi,
Hi,
this is Kim,
this is Andy.
and we're going to read to you from the Urantia book. But first, we have 365 Days of Walking the Red Road by Terry Jean. Okay, and Andy will read to you from this.
This
February
is
6th.
from Blue Thunder, a Teton Sioux.
Yeah, so we had trouble researching this guy. It's pretty kind of obscure. There's a couple different Blue Thunder references, but I think the one that makes the most sense is that he was an Indian scout
Mhm.
for the military in the Western Territory. Teton Sioux is like the western branch of the Sioux, like probably Lakota Sioux.
Mhm.
Okay, so go ahead.
What is gained from our inner nature is exact knowledge, which gives us a far-reaching outlook over the earth. The many powers of inner nature are hidden in everyone, and these are identified with Wakantaka.
Right. So that's like the divine part of each person, like the thought adjuster,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right, right.
Okay, so that totally dovetails, Urantia. That's
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and we're talking about the outer knowledge and the inner knowledge, right?
Right. And did you know
Okay.
that many archaeologists and scholars claim that native people may have inhabited the Americas as long as 70,000 years prior to non-natives.
I think it might even be more.
So when we're talking that stretch of time, when native people say we've always been here, well, metaphorically speaking,
And we've
how
been
many
here,
tens
yeah,
of thousands of years does it take before that's true? Mhm.
right? We've been here. Our no, I'm not. I'm trying not to identify myself as as white, but white people, European people came here just a few hundred years ago. What, 500 years ago?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden we assume ownership of this that they've had for 70,000 plus years,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right.
How is that? How is that?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, yeah, that's not good. Okay. All right. Now, next on the list here, we got The Tao Te Ching, translation by Ralph Allen Dale. And we have chapter 6. I'm going to show you a beautiful image. Okay. The cloudy skies over the sea and a stone bluff jutting out into the ocean.
It's the north coast of California, it looks like.
Could be, could be.
Mhm.
Yeah, but part of what I love about this book is that photography is, I don't know, it's very beautiful. Okay, the spirit of life never dies. It is the infinite gateway to mysteries within mysteries. It is the seed of yin, the spark of yang, always elusive, endlessly available. So, um, it's always elusive. So you can't control that. You can't touch. I mean, like you can't grab onto that. You can't.
Mhm.
But it's always available for you
Mhm.
if you ask for that spark or that seed.
Mhm.
And yeah, the two great powers. I don't know. What do you see in that? Anything else?
Just that that's available to a person. The potential, the energy, it's always there, it's always available, even though you can't see it or touch it.
Yeah, and life is the gateway
Mm-hmm.
to mysteries within mysteries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this life is just a gateway.
It's kind of aligns with Blue Thunder's talk about the inner
Inner,
nature.
inner nature.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you for listening to that. It's very good.
Hmm.
Okay. We have the Urantia book. Yay.
And where are we?
We're finishing paper 35 today. So we have the Lanonandek Worlds, section 10, paper 35. Okay, the third group of 7 worlds in the Salvington circuit of 70 planets with their respective 42 satellites constitute the Lanonandek cluster of administrative spheres. On these realms, the experienced Lanonandeks belong to the X-System Sovereign Core. Belonging. On these realms, the experienced Lanonandeks belonging to the X-System Sovereign Core officiate as administrative teachers of the ascending pilgrims and the seraphic hosts. The evolutionary mortals observe the system administrators at work on the system capitals, but here they participate in the actual coordination of the administrative pronouncements of the 10,000 local systems. Okay, so these have been, remember, system sovereigns are rotating positions. Okay.
Hmm.
These are X-system sovereigns, so they've already been rotated. So these have been system sovereigns and have retired. So when they retire, they go to this post of being administrative teachers to the ascending pilgrims and seraphic hosts.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. These administrative schools of the local universe are supervised by a core of Lanonandek sons who have had long experience as system sovereigns and as constellation counselors. These executive colleges are excelled only by the administrative schools of ENSA. Okay, and ENSA is our minor sector.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we've got really good schools here. I love that. We're a great district.
That's
Yeah.
good.
District Nebadon.
Great school district.
Yeah, we are. Okay. While serving as training spheres for ascending mortals, the Lanonandek Worlds are the centers for extensive undertakings having to do with the normal and routine administrative operations of the universe. Okay. All the way in to paradise, the ascending pilgrims pursue their studies in the practical schools of applied knowledge, actual training in really doing the things they are being taught. Okay, so it's hands-on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't university of armchair philosophy, right? Okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. The universe educational system sponsored by the Melchizedeks is practical, progressive, meaningful, and experiential. It embraces training in things material, intellectual, morantial, and spiritual. Okay, so you can wrap it there. Okay.
It is in connection with these administrative spheres of the Lanonandeks that most of the salvage sons of that order serve as custodians and directors of planetary affairs. And these defaulting planetary princes and their associates in rebellion who choose to accept the proffered rehabilitation will continue to serve in these routine capacities, at least until the universe of Nebadon is settled in light and life.
So they're talking about here like the salvaged sons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because some of the Lanonandeks will rebel.
Hmm.
This was, paper 9 here was really a fascinating, or section 9 here
Mhm.
was fascinating in that it talks about how, because what makes these Lanonandeks valuable is that they're able to draw close and understand the nature of mortal beings.
Hmm.
They're able to approach us in ways that their superiors aren't, because their superiors are more perfect.
Mhm.
So that's the same thing that makes them vulnerable to going astray.
Okay.
So a portion of these have gone astray.
Hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
But they do attempt to salvage them
Mhm.
if they're able to, repent
Mhm.
and see the nature of their crimes, whatever they've committed.
Mhm.
Then they're salvaged,
Mhm.
and then they serve as these custodians and directors. But they're not given the same level of responsibility that they had before.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're more like assistants and
Okay. Mhm.
custodians. Okay, you want to read the last part? I think that's really nice. I think that's beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
Many of the Lanonandek sons in the older systems, however, have established wonderful records of service, administration, and spiritual achievement. They are a noble, faithful, and loyal group, notwithstanding their tendency to fall into error through fallacies of personal liberty and fictions of self-determination. Sponsored by the Chief of Archangels, acting by authority of Gabriel of Salvington. Wow. That's pretty high authority.
Yeah, and we talk about self-determination. That kind of stuck out at me here, because we're like, as mortal races, I think we are self-determined beings.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, as we progress, we have more and more to we determine our own fate, but our choices become more clear
Mhm.
as we develop. Now, it might not be so for these Lanonandek sons, who interact with us here, as our planetary rulers and system sovereigns, and right.
Mhm.
So they're enough like us, but in this way, but they don't have this level of self-determination and this freedom
Mhm.
that we have, because here we're able to be, to be this mortal,
Mhm.
but we're able to become something other than that, like engage in whatever kind of service that we have after we leave.
So, like, would Lucifer have?
Yeah, Lucifer was a Lanonandek son.
So he was a salvaged son, or would become a salvaged son.
We don't know.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's something that either hasn't been disclosed to us or hasn't been determined yet.
Mhm.
And probably for good reason. We're not allowed to know things that are
Mhm.
we're not ready to know.
Mhm.
But you can see here, if they have the same kind of need for freedom that we have, well, why aren't they free to self-determine themselves? Because here
Mhm.
they're stuck being our leaders and our exemplars, right?
Mhm.
Why can't they just do whatever they want? You can see where that would get a little, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right? But we're like inferior to them, yet we have all this free will.
Maybe we're operating on a lower power level than they are.
Well, I think that's true in the short term.
So our choices don't have quite the consequence or.
That's true in the short term,
Mhm.
but in the longer term here, what will happen is that those as you graduate to higher levels,
Mhm.
your choices have higher consequences, and so the good and bad here is more of a stark contrast. And if you're developing properly, right, I think that that becomes more clear, and so then there's there's more, you have less actual freedom,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So that's really an interesting idea, because here we tend to think of like the wealthy as having all freedom because they've progressed beyond this need to go to work and stuff. But it's actually the opposite. A king has less freedom, literally,
Mhm.
than these little subjects who are working in the fields and can,
Mhm.
go out to the tavern and get drunk and late and whatever, and they can, have
Mhm.
relatively low consequences, or you know what I mean. It's a kind of seems kind of random, seems kind of arbitrary, but but here, if the king, or well, and that's as it should be. Okay, but that's been flipped in our culture. Like, look at Christopher Pike here, our
Mhm.
captain in Star Trek here, who's willing to you know be the first to suffer whatever consequences are um, impinged on his crew. Right?
Mhm.
That's what a real leader is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, that's what a real leader does. So as we graduate to those levels, that freedom actually becomes less, and the consequences of misdeeds becomes more dire.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've got the opposite perception
Yes.
that's been flipped in our culture,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So if you have the means, if you've ascended toward to have means here, if you're deemed by our society as having really good, you're really this great person, you're really, have achieved all these levels, then you're kind of exempted from those consequences. Okay, so that's a flipped world.
Mhm.
That's not God's way. We have to understand that as we ascend, I think that we forfeit
More
more
responsibility.
responsibility, and we forfeit our freedoms
Mhm.
in willing service to
Mhm.
God as we are willing.
Mhm.
So some people, you start to see why, maybe some beings here aren't willing to go there, right?
Mhm.
Right. But we're talking about but I always say that Jesus promised us freedom and not safety. Okay.
Mhm.
But the freedom is knowing the truth. Okay.
Mhm.
So when you know the truth, okay, you have less capacity to go awry, so your choices are just clearer.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a way of a freedom too,
Mhm.
because not being free in the way Jesus was trying to rescue us. See, I feel like I'm double talking now, but I'm trying not to do that. You know what I mean? Because I always say that truth sets you free.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I believe it does.
Well, yeah, yeah. But you know what you have to do, even
Mhm.
if it's a hard thing,
Mhm.
even if it's choices that are you know some of these choices that we face when we grow can be terrible choices.
Mhm.
What we have to give up, but
Right.
but we're comforted in knowing what's right for us. I think, I don't know, I feel like I'm going on and on. I need to stop. Maybe you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Do you?
I do.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that was a good point that you made. With freedom,
Comes great responsibility.
right?
I guess that's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to accept that you're okay. I'm gonna leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I said
Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay, you guys have a really good day.
Have
Love
a
you.
great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.